Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voyage and the Return author interview series. My name is Nicolette Halladay. I'm the CEO and founder of Inspired Hearts Publishing. And today I'm talking to Rebekah Meredith, one of the co authors of The Voyage and the Return, about her chapter, the work that she's doing in the world, and just all kinds of fun stuff. So great to have you, Rebekah. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
So Rebekah is a just one second, sorry. Rebekah is a wife, a mother, a blogger, and author. She spends her days enjoying the little things with her family. At night, she works on building her dream and spreading mental health awareness through her writing. It's so wonderful,
hmm
Rebekah. I love that you start, kind of in your bio introducing yourself as the wife and mother. And I know that's absolutely a very top priority for you, and building your business around these really important family roles is so important to you.
It really is. That was my main goal when I started my business, was to have my family as my center, my focus, because I got so tired of being away from them. And I just love that I get to be with them when I want and need to, but then also get to do what I need to help other people out on the side as well and make an impact. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. And we live in such an incredible time with so many more opportunities for people
Mm,
to really create the life they want, which oftentimes I think for women includes having a really balanced family and being very, very present for your family when you're with them, and also having a meaningful career that you're passionate about and, growing in addition. So it's wonderful.
it really is. I
Yeah.
love it.
So, Rebekah, tell us a little bit about the work that you do specifically, and kind of how you work with your clients.
Yeah, so most of my work focuses around helping other people grow their businesses. Right now, I started off as a virtual assistant, as your virtual assistant, and
That is true. For anyone who doesn't know, Rebekah's also been my virtual assistant and really supported me in managing the projects that I have going on.
yes, and it's been a lot of fun. And I enjoy helping other people grow their businesses because it helps me see what I like to do and what I like to focus on. And I
Mhm.
found that I like to focus my work working with other writers and authors, especially people who are family people, especially because I feel like that is just so important, especially with my core values. And I love it so much. Um,
Yes,
what
incredible. So you're a virtual assistant, but you also where you do some editing, right?
mhm.
Post writing, and kind of talk to us about a little bit about that work that you're doing.
Yeah, the um, the editing is kind of is incorporated with the copywriting and the ghostwriting work that I do on the side. That is kind of a small thing that I'm growing because writing is where my passion is at, and I enjoy helping people get their voices out there because a lot of people are too busy. They have this goal to, have this exclusive blog, some articles, or even a book out, but no time to do it. And I love taking someone's ideas and their voice and converting it into something tangible that they either want to use to grow their business or cross off their bucket list or something. And it's a lot of fun just kind of like diving into somebody else's mind and
Mhm.
just like not necessarily pulling that information out, but just like converting what they say and what they need into something that is, right, concrete in front of them that they can
Yeah.
share with their audience.
Yeah, I can see how that could be super rewarding. And I think in addition to maybe people who don't have time or space in their life to create quality content, and especially when it comes to writing, not everyone is a great writer, right?
hmm And sometimes you need that little push because what you say in your head and how it comes out are two different things. And I experience that myself sometimes when I get tongue tied, just like that.
That was like a total Freudian slip or something.
It really was. That happens all the time. Like, I'll say something and mean something completely different. It is the
Well,
funniest
it's like,
thing.
actually, that was actually perfect. It
It
was like,
really was.
mm,
It really was. But I mean, that's exactly it. Because sometimes you can write something and you think it comes out great. But when you have it translated in the eyes of somebody else or somebody else's perspective, it can mean something completely different. And this is something I had to do a lot when I was in college too. We'd like sometimes switch papers and read each other's stuff and, say, hey, am I getting my message across? Yes, no,
that's
start over kind of thing.
and Rebecca's a
And
recent college graduate, something that just
yes,
happened, in the last couple months, so congratulations on
thank
that.
you.
In
That was
addition to
fun.
growing your business and your family, you, also, managed to find some time to get a degree in psychology, so that's
Yes.
amazing.
And I
So
graduated with honors too, which was
oh,
surprising.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, share a bit about what you wrote in your chapter. Give anyone who hasn't had a chance to read it kind of a sneak peek of what you share.
Yeah, so my chapter is titled Blank Pages, and it's basically about finding your voice. And it's about my journey, about how I found my voice, or at least I started to find my voice. Because for the longest time, I would just kind of hang out in the sidelines and essentially kind of be like a sheep to what everybody else needed. Because I was kind of raised to be the person to not make other people uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
I was basically not being myself, and I hated it for the longest time. I actually saw something recently with somebody saying that they were always told that they were good and they were, a well-behaved person, but they were always silencing their inner self and not being who they truly were because they were basically told to make everybody else in the room comfortable, and
Mhm.
that really hurt them when they grew up into adulthood, and that's something that kind of happened to me. So
I
my
think it's
chapter
happened I think it's happened to so many of us, and
as
really just in society in general, but then adding the context of being a woman, which we live in, a wonderful time where women have immense freedoms, that there's still these, kind of ideas or, stereotypes about how women, should really be putting everyone else first, right?
yeah, and it's kind of crazy because I've been stumbling across a lot of history documentaries about how a lot of the people in power were actually women. People who were leading battlefields were women. And it's like,
Mhm.
when did this change? Like, seriously.
And
Like,
why wasn't that in our history books?
exactly. Like,
Yes, why couldn't we
it's,
see ourselves in that, it kinda makes you wonder, like, where, yeah.
yeah.
So, um so, um oh, sorry. So go on. So your chapter is about blank pages and how you found your voice and really how you found yourself through that process.
hmm Yeah, and a lot of that process came from my family, like meeting my husband, growing our family, giving birth to my son, and the
Mhm,
nail in the coffin really was when I gave birth,
mhm,
because a lot of moms will agree that their old selves die when they become a mom, and then they have a new person that they're not only getting to know their child, but they're getting to know their new selves. And that's
absolutely.
something a lot of women are told to push into the back because they're told to, take care of the child first, take care of their family, et cetera, and not and really neglect themselves. And when I became a mom, I I did kind of neglect myself, but at the same time, I didn't as much as most of our moms and grandmothers and great grandmothers did.
Yeah.
And I found myself through being a mom and
Mm,
growing, and it was really hard, but
mhm.
I managed to get through it and break through a lot of these, I guess, chains that, pull us down and tell us, no, you have to like follow this line, don't step out of it, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think um it's like we're living in these incredible times where
Mhm.
we are getting to change the narrative. Um,
Mhm.
the first time in sometimes forever, within our family history and just society in general. And I think that when we show up in our authenticity and say, okay, this is what's possible and this is how I'm going to do it because this is how it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's really such an invitation for other people to really examine what makes sense for them. So, like, kudos for you for doing it that way. How do you feel like what you wrote in your chapter really ties into the work that you're doing?
So a lot of what I want to do is to incorporate mental health awareness into storytelling. And a lot of that begins with making something that's relatable for somebody to hold on to. Because if you kind of like just jump into certain things like, oh, yeah, I used to be like that, I know what you're talking about, but you don't tell people how you know what you're talking about or how you can relate to them, you kind of lose people immediately. Like, for the
Right,
longest time, I suffered with an eating disorder. And when other people say they have issues with eating disorders, sometimes they're met with, well, you don't look like this, or, well, you should be fine, just get over it, instead of meeting with empathy and compassion. And that's where a lot of things begin, is meeting people with empathy and compassion and telling them and showing them how you relate to them and how you can take them on this journey from point A to point B, and probably with all the other points in between.
mhm.
Because it's not linear with realizing that you have an issue to finding a way to recover. It's a lot of ups and downs, as almost anybody will tell you.
Yeah,
So
there's definitely a progression, and
it
I
really
think
is.
it it's so valuable how when we share our stories and our experiences, people have an opportunity to see themselves in those stories.
Mhm.
They can find camaraderie, they can find, support, they can find hope, inspiration in our own stories and storytelling. So, for anyone who is watching, we are preparing a book club. So, if you haven't purchased The Voyage and the Return, especially if you haven't gotten the paperback yet, make sure to do that. It is available on Amazon, and I'll put the links so that you can order it. For me, there's nothing like a physical book in your hands. I'm still old school in that way. I love to read a book, physical book. So get a copy. And we're going to be doing a book club. And what's so valuable about creating this container for me is the opportunity for not only the contributors to deepen in on their chapters and the stories and their own progression, their own transformation, their own path back to themselves, but also create an opportunity for the other members to share in their story. And
Mhm.
that's something I feel like is so valuable when we can be open and authentic with where we've been, where we're at, where we're going. It's really an invitation for other people to do that too. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to reach out to me or Rebekah or one of the other contributors and ask us about the book club, and we'll get you the details as we have those. So and get the book, read Rebekah's chapter. I know she would love to see your review. We love to see those insights, so make sure to do that as well. Um, so what would you say is your superpower?
Aside from being a mom,
That is a one heck of a superpower,
it
right?
is, because I have to say, trying to find balance in life, because even though I've had so many things thrown my way, uh, there's a lot of things that I've gone through that most people would like not be standing where I am now if
Yeah.
they, because it's kind of hard to find balance and know where to even take a breath sometimes, because not even knowing where to step, just knowing where to breathe, because
Yeah.
sometimes things get so overwhelming you don't know even how to breathe sometimes,
Mm.
and I would say that's mine.
Valuable superpower to have for a entrepreneurial mother who is growing her empire alongside her family. So I could see how that could come in handy for sure. So,
Yes,
what is what do you have any exciting projects coming up that you would like to share about, anything exciting that you're kind of passionate about?
I'm actually working on so many things right now, which kind of ties back into the balance superpower, because it's like I have to work on them when inspiration hits me. I can't just sit there and stare at it because I will go insane. But I have a few children's books ideas that I'm working on that I'm looking to write and illustrate myself, where I'm trying to bring in a whimsical child imagination and then also tied in with healthy values such
Mm,
as, knowing your worth, not letting people put you down kind of thing. This
mm,
basically teaching children from a young age to have a strong mindset. I'm also working on a collection of short stories and poems that I have started forever ago when I was like 15. I'm 29 now, and I'm finding them in archives that I have found like that are so old and dusty, and
mm.
trying to revamp
Incredible.
them
I
and put
love
them
that.
together. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so amazing. And it's true, like how much is lost. I just think of like so much of my writing and photograph, like so many things that have been lost through time. So
Yes.
good job. Good on you for saying, I'm not gonna let those just go to dust. I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
those back in. Awesome. I can't wait to see and read what you have putting together. So in addition to the work you're doing as a virtual assistant, and your writing support.
Mhm.
You're also working on some writing projects of your own, which is super exciting. And I'll make sure to include the links to your website so people can connect with you there. Um,
Mhm.
so, who is your favorite client to work with?
My favorite client, I have obviously you right now, but
Thank
I
you.
also have, I'm working with Kim, I'm working with Selma, who is the author in your previous book project, and I also have,
I didn't mean specifically, but who are your favorite kind of people
oh,
to
my
work with?
favorite
Yeah,
kind of people to work
yeah.
with.
Sorry, like I'm
Oh,
not like, hey, like, who's your favorite client?
okay. I was
Those
gonna
are
say
actually
because I
looking
love all
for
of y'all.
like
I
shout
love
out.
all of y'all in your own way, you
Yeah.
know. But I mean, I can't fit like one person. I can't say one specific
No,
in
but is there
particular,
a
but
specific kind of person that you love to work with?
just somebody who understands family, honestly. Because I refuse to work with somebody who is not a family person.
Hmm.
Because things happen, and sometimes, like my son was sick recently. I had to tend to him, and then I wasn't feeling great myself. And I communicated with people, and I'm like, hey, this is happening. Just, you know, things will get done just a little later than anticipated. And everybody was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, take all the time you need.
Right.
That's my kind of person, because if somebody doesn't have family values, it's not going to work out for me, because life happens.
Yeah.
And I try to meet all my deadlines. I really do.
Yes.
And if something comes up, communication is another thing that I value. So as far as like the type of people that I prefer to work with, have to have great family values, have to have good communication. If
Mhm.
those things are non-existent, it's not going to work out between us.
Yeah, I think it's so like it's just a sign of the times. We are in a different time where we can balance all of these things. And
Hmm.
especially for women, we've been doing it for eons, but really right now we get to decide that we got to kind of put the boundaries around when we work, when we are present with our children, and how it's all going to flow together. So good for
Yes.
you for setting those boundaries and just from the get go, being like, hey, this is a priority, and also supporting you is a priority. So let's make sure both of those things happen simultaneously. So that's
Yes.
really, really good.
Yes.
So what was your favorite part about working on this project?
Besides having a sneak peek into everybody else's chapters before the book got published.
Yes,
That was one of the best parts, because I had fun reading everybody's chapters before the book became
absolutely.
live, and
Yes.
getting to know everybody from the interviews and reading your chapters. It was really great to connect that way. But
Yeah.
genuine, I think one of my favorite parts was just really listening in on everything and just hearing everybody talk. Like, it was
Mhm.
one thing to read the chapters, it was another thing to actually like hear people talk and hear their voices and hear everything that was going on, and then meshing the two together during this entire process. That's what I had loved the most about it.
Mhm. I love
Is
that. And
that
yeah, so I always like I do my best to explain the experience when you participate in a multi-author book with Inspired Hearts Publishing, but sometimes it's difficult to really put into words. And each group, each container, each book has a different energy and really unfolds in its own way. That's one of the
Mhm.
really amazing dynamic things that I've witnessed in participating and then leading these projects. And what I think people don't realize is behind the scenes, we are doing networking calls, we're doing training calls, and we are doing almost like women's circles where people are sharing from really the depths of their heart. So not only
Mhm.
are they sharing these vulnerable, transformational stories in the book, but they also are sharing it amongst each other. And that's what creates these strong bonds. So it's such an amazing thing. I love it. I love do this work. I love you for supporting us and helping me make this happen for everyone. So if
Absolutely.
you haven't had a chance to purchase The Voyage and the Return, make sure to do that. I'll add the links. And leave us a review, read Rebekah's chapter. I know she would love to hear your insights. And we love reviews. So make sure to do that. Before we head off, is there anything else you want to add, Rebekah?
I just have to say that I just love the opportunities that I have heard gained since starting my business, between meeting you, meeting the authors of this book, and everything else in between, because a lot of this would not have been possible 5 years ago for me. And
Mm,
I love it because it's so great developmentally for not just me, but it's also great for my family and the people I meet in between, because there really is no limit to what I can and can't do. And a lot of the things I was told I couldn't do when I was growing up, I'm actually able to do now, which I love.
yeah.
And anybody who is like listening in on this or watching this, just know that with the age that we're in now, it is so much easier to achieve our goals now more than ever. And yes, you have to know where to look sometimes depending on what your goal is, but it is possible. And I love that. And I love that there's so many amazing people that you can connect with now.
Yeah, we live in incredible times, and I just have to say, this is my little plug for multi-author books. That is a testament for the opportunities that become presented when you collaborate with like-minded and hearted people and really
Mhm.
share in the intention of creating a successful launch and outcome. Really, the connections that you make are invaluable in your business, in your life, and just in your well-being. So I think that's a great place to end. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining, Rebekah. So nice
Yeah.
to talk to you today. And if anyone has any insights or would like to share anything in the comments, please do. We'll make sure to circle around and say hello and respond to your comments. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.